The $4,000 Hermes bag hit Zara's face before she even registered the movement. She crashed backward into the glass display case, the sound of shattering crystal exploding through the Hannam District boutique like a gunshot. Her temple struck marble. Blood, warm and immediate, trickled down her cheek. The world tilted sideways, designer shoes and gasps of horror blurring together as she hit the floor. "You pathetic," Daniel Reed snarled above her, his face twisted with the same contempt she remembered from 4 years ago. "Did you think I wouldn't recognize you? Following me around like some desperate—" Zara's ears rang. Her wrist screamed where she'd thrown it out to break her fall. But worse than the pain was the flood of memories crashing over her, Daniel's apartment door slamming in her face. Her bank account emptied. The cramped PC bang where she'd slept for 2 months, 8 months pregnant, because it was cheaper than a room. The cramps that started at 3 a.m., the hospital that couldn't save her daughter. "Security!" Daniel's new fiancé shrieked. "This woman attacked my boyfriend!" But Zara's security had already moved. 2 men in black suits materialized, restraining Daniel with professional efficiency. He struggled against their grip, still shouting. "Are you insane? Do you know who I am? I'm calling the police. You're not calling anyone." The voice cut through the chaos like ice through water. Everyone in the boutique turned toward the entrance. Kang Ji-hun stood in the doorway, backlit by Seoul's afternoon sun, and the temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. He wasn't tall, maybe 5'10", but he carried himself like he owned not just the building, but the entire district. His black suit was impeccable. His face was beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. But what made people step back wasn't his appearance. It was the way the air changed around him, the way even Daniel stopped struggling, the way the boutique staff suddenly found reasons to look at the floor. Zara tried to push herself up. "Ji-hun, He was beside her in 3 strides, kneeling, his hands impossibly gentle as they cradled her face. Up close, his eyes weren't cold anymore. They were molten with barely contained rage. "Ne sarang," he whispered in Korean, his thumb carefully avoiding the cut on her temple. "Who did this to you?" Zara's throat closed. She couldn't speak. She just looked toward Daniel. Ji-hun's gaze followed hers. When he looked back at Daniel, his expression didn't change. It simply emptied. That was somehow worse than anger. "Soo-jin," he said quietly, never taking his eyes off Daniel. "Get Dr. Yoon here. Now." A woman in a sharp burgundy suit appeared at his shoulder, phone already to her ear. 5 minutes, she said crisply. Then to the boutique manager, "Clear the store. Close it. Everyone out except these 3. She pointed at Daniel, his fiancé, and Zara's fallen shopping bag. "You can't just," the manager started. Soo-jin pulled out her phone, made 1 call, and handed it to the manager. Whatever the person on the other end said made the manager's face go white. Within 90 seconds, the boutique was empty, except for Ji-hun's people. Ji-hun removed his suit jacket and draped it over Zara's shoulders. It smelled like his cologne, woody and expensive and safe. He helped her to a velvet chair, then turned to Soo-jin. "Everything," he said. "I want everything." Soo-jin's fingers flew across her tablet. Daniel Reed, 34, VP at Wellington Reed Capital, Seoul branch. American. Work visa expires in 6 months. Salary $380 million, won annually. Trust fund approximately $2.8 billion, won. Engaged to Sophia Park, daughter of the firm's managing director. He's been in Seoul for 18 months. Previous relationships, Ji-hun said. 6 documented ex-girlfriends in the past 8 years. 3 filed complaints, all withdrawn after financial settlements. 1 was hospitalized. Another had a restraining order that mysteriously disappeared from records. Daniel had gone very pale. "This is insane. You can't just... Who the hell are you?" Ji-hun ignored him. "Dr. Yoon?" An older man hurried in with a medical bag, immediately tending to Zara's temple. She winced as he cleaned the wound. "Concussion unlikely, but possible," Dr. Yoon murmured. "The wrist is sprained, not broken. She'll need to rest for a few days." She'll rest as long as she needs, Ji-hun said. Then finally he turned to face Daniel. If you're enjoying this story, hit that subscribe button. I promise you've never seen revenge served quite like this. And drop a comment. Have you ever run into someone from your past who didn't recognize how much you'd changed? Daniel tried to pull himself together, straightening his designer tie. Look, I don't know what this girl told you, but she's clearly unstable. She's been stalking me. I'm the victim here. 4 years ago, Ji-hun said, his voice conversational. You met Zara Okafor at the Global Trade Summit in Busan. She was working as a translator. You pursued her for 3 months. She fell in love with you. Daniel's fiancé made a small sound. Daniel shot her a look. That's not... You moved in together after 6 months. She paid for most expenses because you claimed your trust fund was tied up in investments. You convinced her to lend you money, $47,000 total. Then you disappeared. This is ridiculous. She was 8 months pregnant when you left. You took every cent from her account, changed your number, blocked her on everything. She lost her apartment. She lost her job because she was too pregnant to work and couldn't afford childcare for after. She slept in PC bangs and Jim Jill bangs for 2 months. The boutique was silent except for Daniel's fiancé's sharp breathing. She went into premature labor in a convenience store at 3 a.m. Ji-hun continued, and now his voice had gone very soft, very deadly. She took a taxi to the hospital. They tried for 6 hours. Your daughter died because Zara's body was too malnourished, too stressed, too broken to sustain her. No, Daniel said, but it came out as a whisper. His fiancée was crying. Zara felt tears sliding down her own face. Ji-hun had never asked for the full story. She'd given him pieces over 3 years, but she didn't know he'd put it all together, documented it, kept it like evidence. That's her story, Daniel tried. I can't be held responsible for... Her daughter's name was going to be Amara, Ji-hun said. It means grace in Igbo. She would have been 3 years old next month. Daniel's face had gone from pale to gray. His fiancée, Sophia, stepped away from him like he was diseased. Daniel, she whispered, tell me this isn't true. Baby, listen, I can explain. Did you have a child with another woman? It wasn't like that. She was just some girl I dated, and she got pregnant to trap me, so I... The slap echoed through the empty boutique. Sophia's hand left a red mark across Daniel's cheek. You abandoned a pregnant woman, Sophia said, her voice shaking. You stole from her. You let your child die. Our child died because she was too stupid to take care of herself, Daniel exploded, and the mask finally cracked completely. I gave her money. It's not my fault she couldn't manage it. I had a future to think about, a career. I wasn't going to let some African girl I barely knew ruin my life. The silence that followed was absolute. Zara felt Ji-hun's hand on her shoulder tighten. When she looked up at him, she saw something in his eyes she'd only seen once before, the night she'd told him about losing Amara, and he'd held her while she cried for 4 hours straight. Sujin, Ji-hun said, make the calls. Sujin smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. With pleasure. She stepped away, phone to her ear, speaking rapid Korean. Daniel tried to lunge forward. Wait, what calls? What are you doing? Ji-hun finally moved toward Daniel. He didn't rush. Each step was measured, purposeful. Daniel's security guards, Zara's security guards, kept him pinned in place. Do you know who I am? Ji-hun asked. Some rich asshole she's probably screwing for money, Daniel spat. She always was good at finding men to use. Ji-hun moved so fast Zara almost missed it. One moment he was 3 feet away. The next his hand was around Daniel's throat, lifting him onto his toes against the wall. The guard stepped back. My name is Kang Ji-hun, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. 10 years ago my father controlled 40% of Seoul's underground economy. When he died, I took over. Expanded. Now it's 60%. Politicians, police, corporations, they all come to me when they need things done quietly, when they need problems to disappear. Daniel's face was turning purple. He clawed at Ji-hun's wrist. Zara Okafor is my wife, Jihan continued. She's been my wife for 2 years. Before that, she worked as my personal translator. I fell in love with her because she's brilliant, resilient, and kind despite everything people like you did to her. She didn't tell me about you because she wanted to move forward, not backward. He released Daniel, who collapsed, gasping. But you couldn't let her move forward, could you? You saw her today looking happy and successful, and it enraged you. Because in your mind, she was supposed to stay broken, stay beneath you. Daniel couldn't form words. Soo-jin returned. Calls made, all of them. Report, Jihan said, not looking, away from Daniel. Wellington Reed Capital has received an anonymous tip about embezzlement traced to Mr. Reed's accounts. The evidence is circumstantial but damaging enough to trigger an internal investigation. They're required by law to report it. Daniel's phone started buzzing. He looked at it. No. Miss Sophia Park has received a comprehensive dossier on Mr. Reed's romantic history, Soo-jin continued, including photos, testimony from previous partners, medical records from the hospitalized girlfriend, and bank transfers showing the hush money payments. Sophia's phone buzzed. She looked at it, then at Daniel with pure disgust. You monster! The Immigration Office has received information about visa irregularities, Soo-jin said. Specifically, Mr. Reed listed his employment as cultural consultant rather than investment banker to avoid certain tax obligations. They've flagged his file for review. That's not illegal, Daniel shouted. It is when combined with failure to report foreign income, Soo-jin said pleasantly, which you didn't because you were still drawing from your U.S. trust fund without declaring it to Korean tax authorities. Daniel's phone was exploding now, call after call, text after text. And finally, Soo-jin said, Mr. and Mrs. Reed, Daniel's parents, have received a detailed letter explaining their son's actions 4 years ago, including the death of their granddaughter. I believe his mother is calling now. Daniel looked at his phone. Mom flashed on the screen. His hand was shaking so badly he could barely hold it. Jihan crouched down to Daniel's level. Answer it. Please, Daniel whispered. I'll pay her back. I'll pay everything back. Just stop. Answer. It. Daniel answered. His mother's voice was loud enough for everyone to hear. Daniel Christopher Reed, you tell me right now that this letter is a lie. Mom, I can explain. Did you get a girl pregnant and abandon her? It wasn't like that. Did you have a daughter who died? Silence. Daniel's face crumpled. Oh my God, his mother said. Oh my God, Daniel, what have you done? The call ended. Daniel sat there, phone in hand, as his entire world collapsed via notifications. His job, his engagement, his visa status, his family, everything disappearing in real time. Zara watched it happen and felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication, just a vast, echoing emptiness where years of pain had lived. Jihan stood and returned to her side. Zara, he said softly. What do you want? She looked at Daniel, this man who destroyed her life, who'd killed their daughter through neglect and cruelty, who just moments ago called her stupid and blamed her for everything. I want him to know what it feels like, she said. Her voice was steady. To lose everything. To be completely alone. To wake up every day knowing that he did this to himself. Jihan nodded. He turned back to Daniel. You have 48 hours to leave Korea, he said. If you're still here after that, you won't leave at all. If you ever speak about my wife, if you ever try to contact her, if you even think her name too loudly, I will know, and I will find you. You can't do this, Daniel said, but there was no strength left in his voice. This is illegal. I'll go to the police. Go ahead, Jihan said. Commissioner Park is a good friend of mine. We play golf every Thursday. He helped Zara to her feet, supporting her weight as her knees threatened to give out. Come on, he murmured. Let's go home. As they walked toward the exit, Sophia Park stepped forward. Mrs. Kang, she said. Zara turned. I'm sorry, Sophia said simply. "I'm so sorry for what he did to you, and thank you for saving me from making the biggest mistake of my life." Zara managed a small nod, then Ji-hun guided her out into the Seoul afternoon, leaving Daniel Reed sitting in the ruins of his own making. The car ride home was silent except for the soft hum of the engine and the city sounds filtering through bulletproof glass. Zara sat in the back of the Genesis GV80, Ji-hun's arm around her shoulders, her head resting against his chest. She could hear his heartbeat, steady, strong, alive. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. "Breathe," Ji-hun murmured against her hair. "Just breathe, Naesarang." But she couldn't. 4 years of carefully constructed walls were crumbling, and behind them was everything she'd buried. The hunger, the fear, the night she'd woken up in a pool of blood, the sound the nurse made when the heartbeat stopped, the way they'd asked her if she wanted to hold Amara's tiny body, and she'd said no, because if she held her daughter, she'd never let go. "I can't," she gasped. "Ji-hun, I can't." "Yes, you can. You've been doing it for 4 years. You're the strongest person I know." "I'm not strong. I'm broken. I'm so broken." And he looked at me like I was at nothing. Like I was garbage. Like losing our baby was my fault. Her voice cracked. The dam broke. She sobbed into Ji-hun's chest while Seoul blurred past the windows, while Soo-jin drove in tactful silence, while the man who controlled half the city held her like she was made of glass. "It wasn't your fault," Ji-hun said fiercely. "Listen to me, Zara. None of it was your fault. He did this. He chose to leave. He chose to steal from you. He chose to let you suffer. Those were his choices, not yours." "But I loved him. I was so stupid." "You were 24 years old and you believed someone when they said they loved you. That's not stupid. That's human. He's the one who should be ashamed, not you." They pulled into the underground parking garage of their building, a glass and steel tower in Hanam-dong, where the penthouses started at 3 billion won. The elevator was private, opening directly into their home. Ji-hun carried her inside despite her protests. Their apartment was all floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Han River, minimalist furniture, and carefully chosen art, a blend of Korean and Nigerian pieces that Zara had collected. It should have felt like a sanctuary. Instead, it felt like a museum of a life she didn't deserve. "Stop," Ji-hun said, setting her down on their cream sofa. He knelt in front of her, hands on her knees. "I can see you doing it. Stop thinking you don't belong here. Stop thinking you don't deserve this." "How did you know?" "Because I know you. Because I've watched you sabotage your own happiness for 3 years, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Because you still flinch when I spend money on you. Because you apologize to me 17 times on our wedding day." Zara's laugh came out as a sob. "I did not. I counted." He reached up, carefully brushing tears from her cheeks. "You are my wife. You are the person I chose to build a life with. Not because I felt sorry for you, not because you needed saving, but because you're brilliant and funny and you make me want to be better than I am. You run half of Seoul's criminal network," she pointed out weakly, "and you knew that when you married me. You know what I do. You know the choices I've made." His dark eyes searched hers. "Do you regret it? Marrying someone like me?" "Never," she said immediately. "Never, Ji-hun. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Then believe me when I tell you that you deserve everything I can give you, everything we've built together, okay?" She nodded, not trusting her voice. Dr. Yoon had followed them up, and now he gave Zara a mild sedative and painkillers for her wrist. Ji-hun thanked him, saw him out, then returned to find Zara still sitting on the sofa, staring at her bandaged wrist. "He's going to be fine, isn't he?" she said quietly. "Daniel. He'll go back to America, get a new job with his family connections, find another woman to destroy. Men like him always land on their feet." Ji-hun sat beside her. "No, he won't." "How can you be sure?" "Because I'm not done yet." He pulled out his phone, showed her a series of documents. "Daniel's embezzlement?" I didn't fabricate evidence. I had my people dig into his actual accounts. He's been skimming from client portfolios for 8 months. Small amounts, hard to notice, but it's real. Zara's eyes widened. He actually stole from people who trusted him with their retirement funds, their children's education money. Sound familiar? Ji-hun's smile was sharp. The investigation will find real crimes. He'll be blacklisted from the entire financial industry. His trust fund will go to legal fees and restitution. His family will cut him off to protect their own reputation. And the visa issues? Also real. He's been evading taxes for 18 months. Korea doesn't play games with that. He'll be deported and banned from re-entry. Maybe face charges in the US too, depending on how vindictive the IRS feels. Zara should have felt guilty about it. She'd been raised to forgive, to turn the other cheek, to believe that revenge was poison. But sitting there with her sprained wrist throbbing and the phantom pain of her lost daughter aching in her chest, she felt only a cold, clear sense of justice. "Good," she said. Ji-hun kissed her forehead. "Rest. I'll make dinner." "You don't have to." "I want to. Besides, you love my kimchi jjigae." He did cook, moving through their enormous kitchen with unexpected grace for a man who commanded criminal empires. Zara watched him from the sofa, her body slowly relaxing as the medication kicked in. This was real. This life. This man. This safety. It was hers. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her look. A text message. "I saw the news about Daniel Reed. I hope you're okay." Another text. "This is Maya Chen. We dated 5 years ago. He did the same thing to me. Took $30,000 and disappeared. I've never been able to prove it." Then another number. "Jessica Williams here. Daniel Reed stole from me too. Is there any way I can help with the investigation?" Within an hour, Zara had received messages from 6 different women, all of them Daniel's victims, all of them coming forward now that someone had finally made him face consequences. She showed the messages to Ji-hun. "Do you want to respond?" he asked carefully. Zara thought about it. These women were her, from different timelines, different cities. Some had lost money. One had lost a pregnancy like her. Another had lost her business when Daniel's theft bankrupted her startup. "Yes," she said, "but not tonight. Tonight I just want to be here with you." Ji-hun served dinner. Kimchi jjigae with rice, exactly the way she liked it. Spicy enough to clear sinuses, but not so hot she couldn't taste anything else. They ate on the floor by the windows, watching the sun set over Seoul, painting the Han River gold and crimson. "Tell me something good," Zara said. "Tell me something that has nothing to do with today." Ji-hun thought for a moment. "The foundation building is ready. We can start moving furniture next week. Interviews for staff positions start on Monday." The Second Sunrise Foundation, her dream project, a place for women like her, women who'd been abandoned, abused, financially devastated, to rebuild their lives. "You really think it'll work?" she asked. "I know it will, because you're running it, and you don't give up on people." 3 weeks later, Zara stood in front of the Second Sunrise Foundation building in Itaewon, her hands trembling for an entirely different reason. The building was beautiful, a restored Hanok-style structure with modern glass additions, traditional Korean architecture blended with contemporary accessibility, solar panels on the roof, a garden courtyard in the center, 20 residential units upstairs, communal spaces, and offices downstairs. It had cost Ji-hun more money than Zara wanted to think about. "Stop calculating," Ji-hun murmured beside her. He wore a simple black suit today, trying to look less intimidating for the press. It wasn't working. "This is an investment in something that matters. I just don't want to let you down." "Impossible." He squeezed her hand. "Ready?" She nodded. Her wrist had healed, leaving only a faint scar. The cut on her temple was gone. But the internal wounds were still raw, still bleeding in quiet moments. The crowd was smaller than she'd expected. Some local press, a few donors, about 20 women who'd already been approved for the program. Sue Jin stood at the back, coordinating security with her usual efficiency. Dr. Yoon was there too, volunteering as the foundation's medical consultant. Zara stepped up to the microphone. 4 years ago, she began, and her voice only shook a little. I was sleeping in PC Bangs because I couldn't afford a room. I was 8 months pregnant. The father of my child had stolen my savings and disappeared. I had no family in Korea, no safety net, no idea how I was going to survive. She could see some of the women in the audience nodding. They knew. They understood. I worked until my water broke. I took a taxi to the hospital with money I'd saved from skipping meals. I spent 6 hours in labor, alone, terrified. And then my daughter died because my body couldn't sustain her, because I'd been too malnourished, too stressed, too broken. A reporter in the front row was crying. Zara pushed forward. Her name was going to be Amara. It means grace. She would have been 3 years old next month. Zara's hand went unconsciously to her stomach. For 2 years after that, I was a ghost. I worked, I ate, I slept, but I wasn't alive. I was just existing, surviving. She looked at Ji-hun. He nodded encouragement. And then I met someone who saw me, really saw me. Not my trauma, not my past, not what had been done to me. He saw who I could become if someone just gave me a chance to heal. She smiled. My husband gave me that chance, and this foundation exists because I want to give that same chance to others. The applause was warm, genuine, but Zara held up a hand. I need you all to understand something. This isn't charity. This isn't me playing savior. Every woman who comes through these doors is already strong. They survived things that should have destroyed them. We're not here to fix anyone. We're here to provide resources, safety, and community while they rebuild on their own terms. She outlined the programs: temporary housing for up to 6 months, job training and placement, legal aid for custody battles and immigration issues, mental health counseling, childcare, financial literacy courses, everything she'd wished she'd had 4 years ago. We open officially next Monday, Zara finished, but our first resident moves in today. She gestured to a young woman standing nervously at the edge of the crowd. This is Aisha Mensah. She's 22, from Ghana, and 3 months ago her boyfriend emptied their joint account and left her homeless in a country where she barely speaks the language. She's been sleeping in a church basement. Today, she gets her own apartment, a job interview at a restaurant that needs a prep cook, and access to Korean language classes. Aisha stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. Zara hugged her and whispered in English, "You're going to be okay, I promise." "How do you know?" Aisha whispered. "Back. Because I'm standing here, and if I can make it, so can you." The reporters asked questions. How was the foundation funded? Ji-hun's investments and private donations? Zara carefully didn't mention where some of that money came from. What were the eligibility requirements? Proof of financial abuse or abandonment, willingness to participate in programs, basic background check. Would they help with legal issues? Yes, they had 2 lawyers on retainer specifically for immigration and family law. Then a reporter asked, "Mrs. Kang, is it true that your ex-partner, Daniel Reed, was recently deported from Korea?" Zara's smile didn't waver. "I wouldn't know. I don't keep track of people from my past. I'm too busy building the future." The reporter persisted. "But the timing seems..." "The timing seems like justice," Zara interrupted. "Mr. Reed stole from multiple women over many years. He committed actual crimes: embezzlement, tax fraud, visa violations. Those crimes had consequences. That's not revenge, that's accountability." Ji-hun stepped forward smoothly. "My wife has been incredibly gracious in not pursuing civil charges against Mr. Reed for the assault 3 weeks ago. We believe his deportation and professional ruin are sufficient consequences. Now, if there are no more questions about ancient history, we have a foundation to run." The press conference ended. Zara showed Aisha to her new apartment, small but clean, with a full kitchen, a real bed, a bathroom with hot water. Aisha cried when she saw it. "I thought I'd never have a home again," she said. "You always had one," Zara replied. "You just had to find it." That evening, after the cameras left and the donors went home and the building quieted, Zara and Jihyun walked through the empty halls. Their footsteps echoed on polished floors. The setting sun painted everything gold. 20 women applied in the first week, Zara said. "We only have space for 12 residents at a time. How do I choose?" "You take the 12 who need it most urgently. You help them rebuild. Then you take the next 12. It's not about saving everyone at once. It's about saving someone right now." They stopped in the courtyard, where a small garden was beginning to bloom. Zara had planted it herself, Nigerian hibiscus and Korean mugungbwa flowers growing side by side. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked. "Building all this for me? The foundation, the programs, everything? You could have used this building for something profitable." Jihyun turned to face her. "I've spent 10 years building an empire that most people would call criminal. I've made choices I'm not proud of. I've hurt people who probably deserved it and some who didn't. The money I have? Most of it came from things that would horrify you if you knew the details." He took her hands. "But this, helping women rebuild their lives, this is the first good thing I've done with that money. The first thing that makes me feel like maybe I'm not just my father's son. So no, I don't regret it." Zara kissed him. There in the golden light, surrounded by flowers that symbolized two cultures learning to grow together. Her phone buzzed. She almost ignored it, but the notification caught her eye. An email. The subject line read, "I'm sorry." The sender, Daniel Reed. Her stomach dropped. Jihyun saw her face change. "What is it?" She showed him the phone. His expression darkened immediately. "Don't open it," he said. "He's in Los Angeles. He can't touch you, but he can still try to manipulate you." "I know." But her finger hovered over the email. I need to see." Jihyun didn't stop her. He just stayed close, a solid presence, while she opened the message. The email was short. "Zara, I saw the news about your foundation. I saw the photos of you at the opening. You look happy, successful, nothing like the girl I remember. I'm not going to make excuses. I was a coward. I was selfish. I saw you were pregnant and I panicked. I took the money because I convinced myself I deserved it more than you did. I left because it was easier than staying. I didn't know about Amara. I swear I didn't know she died. If I had known, I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have changed anything. Maybe I'm exactly the person you think I am. I lost everything. My job, my family, my fiancé, my reputation. I'm working at a call center now. I live in a studio apartment in Koreatown. Every day I see Korean people, and I think about what I did to you in their country. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that you won. You survived. You built something beautiful from the ashes I left behind, and I'm proud of you for that, even though I have no right to be. I hope you never think of me again." Daniel Zara read it twice. Then she handed the phone to Jihyun. He read it, his jaw tightening with each line. "It's manipulation. I'm proud of you. He has no right to those words. He's trying to make you feel sorry for him." "I know," Zara said, and she did. She could see the manipulation in every carefully chosen phrase, every strategic admission. Daniel was playing the redemption card, hoping she'd respond with forgiveness or at least acknowledgement. But what surprised her was that she felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no pain, just a vast, clear emptiness where he used to live in her head. "I'm not going to respond," she said. Jihyun looked at her carefully. "Are you sure? If you want closure..." "I don't need closure from him. I have closure. I have this foundation. I have Aisha upstairs, starting her new life. I have 20 more women waiting for their chance. I have you." She took his hand. "Daniel Reed is my past, and I'm done living there." She deleted the email without responding. Then she blocked the address. That's it? Jihyun asked. That's it. Zara smiled and it felt real, felt light. He doesn't get my words. He doesn't get my forgiveness or my anger or any piece of my emotional energy. He gets nothing, because that's exactly what he gave me when I needed him most. Jihyun pulled her close, and they stood there in the courtyard as the sun finished setting, as Seoul's lights began to sparkle across the city, as somewhere in Los Angeles, Daniel Reed stared at his phone, waiting for a response that would never come. Come on, Jihyun said eventually. Let's go home. I'm cooking jollof rice tonight. You can't make jollof rice, you're Korean. I can make anything. I watched 17 YouTube videos. Your grandmother would be proud. Zara laughed, a real, full laugh that surprised them both. My grandmother would have opinions about your technique. Then it's good she's not here to judge me. They drove home through Seoul traffic, and Zara watched the city lights blur past. This city had been the site of her greatest trauma and her greatest healing. She'd arrived here 6 years ago, young and ambitious and full of dreams. She'd been broken here. She'd survived here. She'd fallen in love here. She'd built something meaningful here. Korea had given her everything and taken everything and given it all back transformed. At home, Jihyun did attempt jollof rice. It was terrible. Too much gochugaru, not enough tomatoes, the rice somehow both mushy and crunchy. They ordered pizza instead and ate it on their balcony, watching the Han River reflect the moon. Tell me about tomorrow, Jihyun said. Tomorrow we have orientation for 3 new residents. Aisha starts her job. I meet with the legal team about 2 custody cases. The therapist arrives to set up her office. And I have an interview with Korea Times about the foundation. You're going to change lives. I'm going to try. No. Jihyun turned to her, serious. You're going to succeed. Because you understand what these women need in a way no one else can. You've lived it. Zara leaned against him. Do you think Amara would be proud if she'd lived? I think, Jihyun said carefully, that Amara's short life had meaning because it led you here, to this moment, to this foundation that will help dozens, maybe hundreds of women. That's not nothing. It doesn't make losing her hurt less. No, but maybe it makes the hurt mean something. They sat in comfortable silence, the kind that only comes after years of knowing someone's rhythms, someone's pain, someone's healing. Zara's phone buzzed. Not Daniel this time. Aisha, sending a photo of her apartment with a simple caption. Thank you for believing in me. Then another message from Maya Chen, one of Daniel's other victims. I testified to the Financial Crimes Division today. Because of you, I found my voice again. And another, from Jessica Williams. Started therapy. First time in 3 years, I felt like maybe I deserved to heal. The messages kept coming. Women she'd helped directly and women she'd inspired indirectly. Women who saw her foundation and thought, maybe there's hope for me too. You want to know what revenge really looks like? Zara said, showing Jihyun the messages. It's not Daniel suffering in Los Angeles. It's this. Women helping women. Survivors becoming advocates, pain transforming into purpose. Before you go, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button because we're just getting started with stories about women who refuse to stay broken. And comment below, what does healing look like to you? Is it revenge? Is it moving forward? Or is it something else entirely? Share this video with someone who needs to hear that their past doesn't define their future. 6 months later, the Second Sunrise Foundation celebrated its first success story. Aisha had saved enough money to move into her own apartment. She had a steady job as a sous chef. She was taking university classes. She stood in front of the foundation's residents, now 12 women from 8 different countries, and told her story. 6 months ago, I wanted to die, Aisha said simply. Today, I want to live. That's because of this place, because of Mrs. Kang showing me that surviving isn't the same as thriving, and both are possible. Zara watched from the back of the room, Jihyun's hand in hers. The foundation had expanded. They'd bought the building next door, doubling their capacity. 3 other cities were asking about starting similar programs. Zara had been invited to speak at the UN about financial abuse. But the most meaningful moment came after Aisha's speech, when a new resident approached Zara nervously. "Mrs. Kang, I'm Priya. I just arrived yesterday. I wanted to ask, does it really get better? Because right now I can't imagine ever feeling whole again." Zara looked at this young woman, 25, Indian, abandoned by her husband after he emptied their accounts, and saw herself 4 years ago. "I won't lie to you," Zara said. "It doesn't get better quickly. Some days you'll wake up and the pain will feel as fresh as yesterday. Some days you'll forget to be sad, and then you'll feel guilty for forgetting. Healing isn't a straight line." "Then how do you do it?" "You wake up. You take one step, then another. You let people help you. You help someone else when you can. And one day, maybe not soon, but eventually, you realize you've built a whole new life. Not the life you planned. Something different. Sometimes, something better." Priya's eyes filled with tears. "I just want to feel like myself again." "You will," Zara promised. "But here's the secret. The yourself you become won't be the same person you were before. And that's okay. That's not losing yourself, that's becoming someone stronger." That night in their penthouse overlooking Seoul, Ji-hun found Zara on the balcony, staring at the city lights. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. "I'm thinking about how 4 years ago I was sleeping in a PC bang, pregnant and alone, convinced my life was over, and now I'm here. With you, running a foundation, helping women rebuild their lives. It doesn't feel real sometimes." "It's real. You made it real." Zara turned to face him. "We made it real. I couldn't have done this without you." "Yes, you could have. You're the most resilient person I've ever met. I just provided resources. You provided the vision, the heart, the everything that matters." "You provided more than resources. You provided safety, protection, love. You saw me when I couldn't see myself." Ji-hun pulled her close. "We saw each other. 2 broken people who decided to be whole together." Somewhere in Los Angeles, Daniel Reed was living his diminished life, working his call center job, sleeping in his studio apartment. He'd sent 3 more emails over 6 months. Zara had deleted all of them unread. He didn't deserve her attention. He didn't deserve her forgiveness. He didn't deserve anything from her except her absence. And that was exactly what he got. Meanwhile, Zara Okafor Kang built her empire of second chances. She helped women find their voices. She provided safety for the vulnerable. She transformed her pain into purpose and her trauma into triumph. The best revenge she'd learned wasn't making your enemies suffer. It was building something so beautiful, so meaningful, so powerful from the ruins they left behind that they became irrelevant to your story. Daniel Reed had tried to destroy her. Instead, he'd forged her into someone unbreakable. And that, Zara thought as she kissed her husband under the Seoul stars, was the sweetest victory of all. "I need to ask you something important. Have you ever transformed your pain into power? Have you watched someone rise from their lowest moment to become unstoppable? Drop your stories in the comments below because your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if this story moved you, if Zara's strength inspired you, smash that like button and share this video with someone who needs to remember that their past doesn't get to write their future. Subscribe because we're building a community of survivors and warriors here. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.